Hello and welcome to the In a Nutshell podcast with myself, Andrew Miles Davis, and my co-host Chris Branch. Now, this is the daily 10-minute podcast where we take out all of the digital techie talk around generative AI and focus on what the everyday person, content creator, and marketer wants to hear. Now, we've only got 10 minutes, so we can only focus on one particular subject. And today we're going to talk about a new tool that we've both found, but Chris has gone really like crazy using it. And it's a video tool. And the reason why we like this tool, or one of the tools that we've been using quite a lot recently, is because it does numerous things. But one of the key things, which has always been hard when it comes to image generation, is the continuity. And that is making sure it's the right image to the right person.
Distinct characters,
Yeah. So, Chris, as you're the expert on this already, let us know the tool.
Mate, 2 days in.
Let us know the tool and why it's so good.
Yeah, so I randomly came across it after watching a YouTube video about continuity issues in generative AI, and it's a new tool called Artflow AI. And yeah, essentially right now it's not fully launched. So they allow you to basically create your own avatar, but you can only train one of your own avatars right now. And we've talked about other tools in the past, like HeyGen and others that do similar things to this. But it looks like in this case, it's actually not needing much training data. It's very easy to use and it's free. So like this is three big things where previous technology in this same space has required stable diffusion and therefore tech knowledge and GitHub and repository and downloading locally to your computer. So a lot more involved process for setups, basically, without being too techy.
Yeah.
And now this is all browser based, very quick, very easy and fun and engaging as well. So like keep an eye on that space.
Yeah, and that's the key thing, keeping it fun. And so quickly going back to how you go about creating that continuity. What Chris said is, and what these tools do is let's say if you wanted a picture of your face, you need to upload numerous amount of pictures of your face, usually doing something different. But 9 times out of 10, it's just your face, nothing like else in the picture, just so it gets to kind of know your face, your expressions, your skin tone, the way your eyebrows are, your hair, etc. And then it kind of paints a picture of what you would look like in multiple different things. And as we mentioned before, Midjourney, DALL-E 3, Leonardo, they've all kind of struggled in this space. But at the end of the year, I think this is going to be one of the things, because I know that this is something that they've been getting a lot of questions about, and a lot of people are trying to find answers to. And there are some ways that you can get around that. But I think, as you mentioned, this is one that is kind of come out of the blue, out of nowhere, and is kind of nailed it firsthand.
Solving a big problem that many people had, which was essentially they weren't techie enough to get all of the stable diffusion stuff downloaded locally to their computer. And I'll include myself in that category as well.
Yeah.
And the massive reason for that is because I'm on a Mac computer and most of the tutorials are on Windows and you need like command editor and stuff like this. So it's just above my pay grade when it comes to techiness. And this is solving an issue for quick Photoshops. So I could imagine the use cases straight away being like YouTube thumbnails, personalized social media posts, just funny little gimmicks, memes creations, all sorts of things like this. And yeah, that's something, like you said, Midjourney and DALL-E 3 just haven't been able to do, essentially. We've seen versions of this because OpenAI has GPTs, which allows you to train mini models of your own text, but it's not really like the same thing where you upload 20 selfies and then you can make versions of yourself into other things. So it's a fundamentally different use case.
Yeah. And I think what this does as well is two things. One, I remember speaking to my friend and he wanted to create a comic. And I was like, why don't you use like a Midjourney or DALL-E 3 to do it? And he said, yeah, but we can't just get that continuity. Like, that's the same thing. So I think one, like I'll tell him about it and he'd be able to do that. But secondly, this is going to help when it comes to videos. Because what you can do, obviously, with a lot of the videos, the Runway MLs and the Pika Labs, is you can upload an image that you create and then get that still image moving. And that's what I think is, if you can get the same type of character, across multiple images, and
That's
then you can
right.
start making it moving, then all of a sudden you can put together a nice little trailer for a film or even a short film.
Yep.
So I think that's where it's gonna be
That's a
quite
great
good.
point, actually. Keyframe images like that are personalized to you, and you could have made your own character and then installed it.
Yeah.
So the way that I've been thinking about it right now, because I don't have any of my own characters, is essentially I can only really train it on me. Whereas if
Mm.
I was an artist with hundreds of characters and hundreds of drawings for each of those characters, I could make models for each of those and plug them in certain scenarios.
Yeah.
So yeah, fascinating way to include story making.
Yeah, I think this is really interesting. This reminds me though of Ideogram. And what I mean by that
Right,
is what
yeah.
Ideogram did was where all of the big sites were struggling to do text, Ideogram was the one that nailed it.
Yeah.
And then it became very popular. But then once DALI 3 and Midjourney nailed text, then people don't use it as much. Maybe this is going to be the same here. Maybe it's a case of they nailed it first and then it picks up. And then next thing you know, the big platforms on their next upgrade will soon do this. And then
Mm.
people won't be using it as much. But from a point of view of if we're not loyal to the brand, but we're
Mhm.
loyal to what we want to achieve, this is a good step forward
Mhm.
because, as I said, it's creating those images that we've struggled in the last year to do. So I think
Mhm.
this is going to be quite interesting. And like I said, there's different
Definitely.
ways that you can use this, and what Chris was giving some examples as well.
Definitely. So one of the biggest things that I ever talk to people about when I have AI conversations, they always say, "Well, this is really cool, but how do we do it for our brand?" Well, this is one
Yeah.
of the answers, right?
Mm.
Like massively so. Everyone, as soon as you see something cool, you want to do your own version of that thing. And up until this point, it's been complicated and techy and expensive and all those other things that you don't want to hear when you are going into something new and you just don't want to
Mm.
test the waters in that territory. So now it's become cheaper, more available, cloud based, all of the things that they want to hear. I can imagine millions more people trying it. Honestly,
Yeah. So Chris, how many images did you create yesterday?
too many. Too many. At least 300 of both you and me in
Yeah.
different scenarios of superheroes and famous people and musicians and rappers and everything you can imagine.
And how long did that take?
Not as long as I thought it would. It's
Mm.
similar to sort of Midjourney lengths in that it's about 7 to 10 seconds in relaxed mode. In Midjourney, they have this fast mode, so you can work a lot faster. But
Yeah.
in the normal Midjourney mode, it takes like 7 to 10 seconds to generate 4 images. And so each prompt I'd have to craft that would take longer than the actual waiting for the generation. And then I just have
Nice.
fun copying them over to my desktop and then photoshopping them after.
So there's no edit. You can't really edit within that
You can
application.
do variations actually. So
Okay.
there is kind of like if you like this one, show me 4 more like it. I
We'll
didn't
look at that.
explore that
Yeah.
territory, but yeah, as a
But
feature,
it's
that's
not got, for
very
example, generation fill. It's not got things like
no, it doesn't
no,
look
okay.
like it. But they do
Not
have
yet
a
anyway.
credit system so that you could do variation spins.
Okay.
Each time you spin, it costs you 1 credit, which is good instead of it costing 4 because it produces
Yeah.
4 images. So
Mm.
you get 100 free credits a month and one model, and
Yeah.
then you can pay to have other models and more credits.
Okay. That seems pretty good. So it's definitely a tool worth checking out. What is it called again?
Um, Let me just check. I shut down the tab now. It was called artflow.ai.
Artflow.ai. So it looks like a tool to play with, have a play, see how it goes. Maybe you can combine it with other tools that you're using.
Yeah.
So you can obviously take pictures from this and you can upload it to a Midjourney or even a DALI 3 and get similar images like that. So you might find it in this, but then train the other models that you're used to doing or used to using on this image that you've created here as well and see where that goes. This is a new tool, like Chris found it yesterday, told me about it
Yeah.
yesterday. I've had a bit of a play with it, but I've not done
I
300
think it
or
only came
600
out a week
images.
ago.
Yeah. So have a play with this, see what it's like. But like with most of these tools, I wouldn't be surprised if this technology will be in some of the big tools or the big image generator tools in the next few weeks. depending
I
on how
agree with
popular it
that.
is.
And in a nutshell, on this episode, try and be a platform and not a feature. But it's always best to launch with a unique thing that's solving a different problem than everybody else, because this isn't currently available in the big platforms. So it's going to get some hype, and whether or not they can capitalize on that hype and whether or not it just disappears in a few months, let's see. But good to see people solving new problems.